Well, I'm grateful to be here, and I'm always happy to tell our story about the liberal arts at Purdue University. But first, allow me to thank the Teagle Foundation, the Board of Trustees for their continuing generosity and for having me here today. And I'm particularly grateful to Judith and Andy and Lonnie. Thank you for believing in me, and thank you for believing in Cornerstone. So, okay, first off, trigger warning. This story has a rather familiar, dreary beginning about the sad state of affairs in the world of the liberal arts, the swamp of despond. But then it begins to ascend like Bunyan's pilgrim through the delectable mountains. And we are at the point now where we can see the celestial city, also known as robust enrollments in advanced liberal arts courses, but we're not quite there yet. So Purdue University in north central Indiana is a large land-grant university. And when I arrived there in the 90s, I was the third early modern Europeanist in a growing history department with healthy graduate and undergraduate programs. Publication was the only measure of your worth, and you never worried about anything so trivial as enrollments. Frankly, you never worried about teaching at all. I suspect this was true for anyone fortunate enough to land a Research One university position in those halcyon days. I did what I was supposed to do, present, publish, publish, rise through the ranks. But around 2011, things began to change. No one told you what was happening. Certainly the leadership never put us on notice that our world had just upended itself. But in the hallways and over coffee, anxiety among my colleagues was real. You were used to walking into your large history survey class and seeing 100 smiling or dozing faces, and suddenly it was 45. And woe be it to you if you were teaching an upper level course, history of the civil rights or German literature. You might have garnered 20 to 25 students, but now you had 5 or none at all. My History of England class, which I used to net around 40 students, was fortunate enough to get 15 when I last taught it in 2016, but only because I had renamed it The Real Game of Thrones. Yeah, I sold my soul. In fact, marketing our courses better was our first inclination to steal liberal arts majors from other departments by offering sexy-sounding courses. If the English department offers dragons, we in history countered with pirates. All against all. Meanwhile, in reality land, the juggernaut, also known as the STEM disciplines, with the gravitational force of the sun, swept up enrollments, a particularly noticeable trend across the nation after the recession of 2008. Between 2011 and 2015, Purdue's College of Liberal Arts declined by around 2,000 majors. Naturally, the traditional humanities were hit hardest: English, history, the languages, philosophy. Small departments were devastated. Philosophy, with 18 faculty members, had a mere 20 majors in 2017. My department, history, with 30 faculty, had normally boasted around 150 majors, dropped to 85 in 2017. Currently, most departments, including the social sciences and the interdisciplinary programs, have simply seen their numbers cut in half. English had 80 majors in 2011, now it has 260. Communication had 860 majors in 2011, now it has 400. But perhaps the worst of it, the worst fact of all, is that the College of Liberal Arts as a whole was teaching far fewer credit hours to students across all disciplines. Now, this means a lot more than simply not being able to justify new faculty lines or other resources. More disturbing than our losses as a college was the loss of a truly holistic education for Purdue students across the campus. In 2018, for example, among all Purdue students, only 10% graduated having a class in literature, and a mere 7% had enrolled in a class in American history. Hard to imagine that we were cultivating a well-rounded graduate under such circumstances. Now, Purdue hails itself the third most STEM-centric university in the nation. Last fall, when it set a record for the largest incoming undergraduate and graduate populations in its long history, that is 8,360 students, over 60% chose a STEM course of study, while a mere 6% chose the liberal arts. So now, I've come to the mountaintop, and I realize that we may never get all those majors back. But our job has become this: to better educate all those STEM students, to provide them with the kind of well-rounded college experience they deserve, and to seek to lure them into our advanced liberal arts courses, or even double major or minor in the liberal arts. The question then becomes, how do you reach STEM students? How do you integrate liberal arts learning? How do you provide all those undergraduates with the kind of truly comprehensive education that advances communication skills and broadens perspectives and imbues students with the inspiration and sheer joy that comes from the wonders of history, philosophy, the languages, literature, and to art, theater, and music? Starting in 2015, our college, with the new dean at the helm, David Reingold, developed a series of initiatives to attract students across the campus. The most ambitious was Cornerstone Integrated Liberal Arts. Cornerstone is a 15-hour certificate and outreach program to STEM and management students. Cornerstone's approach is to bring these students into the liberal arts is twofold. First, it offers a new first-year sequence that fulfills undergraduate general education requirements. And second, it offers a certificate that goes on their transcripts in the liberal arts that students can complete by simply taking 3 more advanced liberal arts courses in the Cornerstone program. Now, the program was designed by faculty, myself, along with colleagues in classics, philosophy, political science, and English. We developed an alternative general education sequence for first-year students that would act as a gateway, bringing students into advanced liberal arts courses. This chronological sequence, Transformative Texts 1 and 2, centers on reading and discussing foundational texts, great literature from the world over, from Gilgamesh and Plato to Frederick Douglass, Robert Frost, Toni Morrison. It fulfills the students' requirements in written and oral communication, which all Purdue students have to complete. In short, what we created was an alternative to the obligatory skills-centered English composition and introductory speech courses primarily taught by graduate students. In designing transformative text, we deliberately set out to create a faculty-taught course that all liberal arts faculty, from the philosopher to the musicologist, would want to teach. This would be a course that would do more than reinforce skills. It would also enrich the lives of our students and inspire them with a love of learning and all its related virtues: empathy, flexibility, perspective, among them. We also wanted to emphasize in these classes mentorship, giving first-year students across the campus a mentorship experience with a full-time faculty member, someone who would guide them, foster their talents and interests, and continue to be a resource throughout their college career. And I cannot stress enough how much our young people, especially first-year students, need an adult in their lives who is on campus, one who understands the stress and difficulties of college life. And to this end, I always make sure that the Cornerstone faculty know just what to do for students in crisis, and we've already had several. Our first goal in creating this course was to create a course that our liberal arts colleagues would want to teach. Involved the question, what could they all teach? For the vast majority, the answer was simple: great texts. Foundational texts are probably the one common denominator among all liberal arts faculty, and usually the reason we joined the academy in the first place, to share our passion for ideas. We began training faculty to teach written and oral communication basics while they prepared to teach what they loved most, whether that was Sappho or Beowulf or Cormac McCarthy. Both transformative text courses give faculty plenty of latitude. They can create the course they've always wanted to teach, so long as they keep the skills front and center. Faculty choose novels, poetry, short stories, famous speeches, works of nonfiction, usually around a theme such as utopia, dystopia, or the quest for a meaningful life, or friendship, or the promises and perils of AI. Now, making such a class exciting for both instructors and students was not difficult. Cornerstone faculty take their students to theatrical performances and museums, hold film fests and fiction writing contests, debates, and pizza parties. Lots of pizza. Along the way, the students hone their communication skills, listen to one another, and learn about the creative process. They learn that ideas, history, the human saga, and questions about life and love and suffering and justice are all worthy of discussion. And faculty benefit. Pivoting the faculty from their departmental courses to courses for undergraduates across the campus gives them access to students they might never have taught otherwise. It allows them to attract these students into their other courses or inspire these students to double major or minor in their field. These courses recruit students. After all, undergraduates who encounter an inspiring or caring faculty member at the outset of their college career are more likely to continue taking classes with that instructor. In short, our goal is to place our faculty from the distinguished full professor to the incoming assistant professor in front of first-year students, to mentor these young people, to foster in them a love of learning and an appreciation for ideas, historical context, and diversity. Now, students in transformative text are encouraged to complete the certificate, the Cornerstone Certificate, by enrolling in 3 more advanced liberal arts courses that we arranged into 5 themes. These themes are science and technology, environment and sustainability, healthcare and medicine, management and organization, conflict resolution and justice. We designed these themes to attract STEM students, allowing them to see their discipline, whether it was environmental engineering or astrophysics, from a wider lens. For example, then there are courses in global green politics and the history of the space age. These courses already existed. Basically, what I did is group them into themes. Cornerstone also encourages students to gain another competency, be it environmentalism or management. But the most concrete benefit for all undergraduates who complete the certificate comes from developing their analytical and creative thinking skills, along with the ability to read critically, write with clarity, and speak with confidence through 15 hours of liberal arts coursework. Now, this program has grown in significant ways, thanks in part to the Teagle Foundation. First, in terms of numbers, we had a pilot year in which we offered a small number of sections of transformative text to about 100 students. But in 2018-19, that was last year, we offered 33 sections of transformative text each semester and taught a total of 1,957 students. Currently, this fall, we are offering 60 sections and have 1,800 students enrolled this fall. Now, most of these students that are enrolled in this first-year sequence are in engineering and our technology school, known as Purdue Polytechnic Institute, or in the undecided category known as exploratory studies. Now, the trick is, of course, to get them to complete this Cornerstone certificate. Most of the students in the Polytechnic are required to complete the certificate because they, too, had a far-seeing dean who knew that these students needed liberal arts coursework. And at the outset of this semester, we know that 351 already registered to complete out the certificate. So we expect to begin to see a surge in our upper-level liberal arts courses. So let me end by saying this. I know that what we've done is something radical. We have taken all those highly specialized faculty members and placed them in first-year humanities core courses, but the times demanded as much. And while the rest of the university appreciates Cornerstone, and we have a lot of support from the higher administration, some, just a few, because 60 of my liberal arts colleagues are already involved in the program, but some of my liberal arts colleagues have been more reticent, probably because we have a lot of support from the higher administration. Now, some accuse Cornerstone of making our college into a service college. But we were always providing a service to the university, only faculty may not have noticed because it was the graduate students doing all the serving. In other words, one of the most vulnerable segments of the academy was teaching the absolute most vulnerable segment of the academy first-year undergraduates. Those who were still learning how to teach were teaching those still learning how to learn. Not a great business model, and one I don't think we can afford any longer. Others accuse Cornerstone of breaking down disciplinary identities, and again, I would say you're welcome. I hope we are breaking them down and encouraging interdisciplinarity. Honestly, what I say to my colleagues is come out of your silos. Come out of your silos and join this endeavor to save our college, to share your ideas about teaching and reaching our young people, and let us become partners with the rest of the university with one mission in mind, to cultivate minds. And finally, I'll end by simply saying this, and I know you know it. Once upon a time, the liberal arts, and particularly the humanities, were at the very heart of the university, and no university could imagine existing without them. To be college educated meant to be liberally or broadly educated, and we really need to regain that space, the space that we once owned, and we need to be the center and, frankly, the cornerstone of liberal arts.